Right, the group leader for the Sant Bani Ashram in Franklin, New Hampshire, that's what it was. She was there. And she was an older lady, about 45, but she didn't look at all aged in her face. She looked still like she was 20. Only thing she had was gray hair, but it was in a very nice braid and everything. And she wore the Indian sari type of clothes, you know, the pajama type of clothes. But you could see she had a very nice figure. And so she came to satsang, and she comes walking in, and she had this beak nose. Her eyes were all gaunted out to where they almost looked black and blue. And her face was all wrinkled up and hag-like, and her lips drawn and taut. And she was just shaking and had to come in on a cane and everything. And she sat down in front of the satsang and listened to the whole satsang that day. And towards the end of the satsang, he looked right down at her, and he just kept staring and staring at her. And you could see she was feeling like very, very nervous and upset and guilty looking. And then he put his thumb right up like that, his right thumb, and put it right up to his forehead, and everybody in the whole place, all 5,000 people, saw the same thing. His thumb just sunk right into his forehead, right up to the hilt, right in the center of his forehead, and he left it in there like for about a minute or two, just staring straight at her, and then he pulled it out slowly, and he looked down at her, and he just shook his head like that briefly, and then he continued talking for about another 10 minutes in the satsang, and it was over with. Well, that was the first day out of 3 days. The second day she comes in, the satsang, and no cane, and her face was totally regenerated. There was no beak nose, no black eyes, no wrinkles, totally back to her youth again. Her figure was restored. She was like all underweight and shriveled looking. Her figure was back to totally normal again. And there she was, just sitting there as if nothing had ever happened. And this was all due to the fact that she wanted a macrobiotic diet where you get down to nothing but eating grains. And he had sent a notice in all of his literature monthly from the ashram in India that he didn't want his disciples to eat this diet because it was dangerous. And then the American Medical Association at the time put out a notice through the public news media that it could actually kill you. And she was on this macrobiotic diet like a fanatic, and that's what it did to her. And next day, though, completely healed. And at the end of satsang, he was done, and she raised her hand. She said, "Master, may I speak, please?" And he said, "Yes, go ahead." And she stood up. She says, "Master, I will never, ever, ever defy you again. I will always do what I am told to do. I will never disobey you again. And I extremely apologize and thank you for healing me." And everybody was just flocking around her after the satsang saying, "How could this be? You were all, you know, tormented and looked like you're ready to die yesterday." And she says, "The Master healed me." It was that simple.